busy week for you, huh? Thank you, sir. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Yeah.
Need a minute to talk to. Okay, I'll wait till you. No, okay. All right, everybody ready? Being 5:30, I now call to order the regular meeting of the Lake Placid Town Council this 10th day of October 2022 in the Government Center of the great town of Lake Placid, Florida. I'd ask everybody to please make sure your phones are either off or on vibrate. And we are very proud to have with us and pleased to have with us Father Vicente Clemente from the St. James Catholic Church, who's going to come forward and lead us in the invocation and pledge. If everybody would please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessing that you endowed to the city of Lake Placid. Bless everyone who lives here, and may you continue to be a source of inspiration for all of us. We are dependent on you for everything that we have and everything that we do. We thank you for sparing us from the brunt of Hurricane Ian. We pray for all who suffer loss and for those not able to return to their homes due to flooding. We ask you for your encouragement so that we can have greater faith in you. We know that everything that we have and everything that we do is because of your abundant grace, guiding us to reflect your great love. Also, we want to thank you for all the workmen who came to our area from out of town and out of state to restore power. We thank you for all the work they did. Bless and protect each and every one of them. Protect and guide each council member so that while relying on your inspiration, they are able to guide the citizens of Lake Placid. Jesus said, knock and the door will be opened. Also, you said we need to persist in prayer and trust in you. May we all reflect the spirit of prayer that you speak to us in the Gospels. And may we inspire the members of the community of Lake Placid to put their trust in God, especially when going through the difficulty and trials today. May this be a time for us to be thankful, to realize more than ever before that in everything we do and everything we have come from your loving grace. You created us, you sustain us, you guide us. We are grateful. May we always be grateful and open to your abundant grace and love. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Father Clemente. Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Mayor Holbrook.
Here.
Councilmember Royce.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Sapp.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes. Here.
Okay, we'll go into consent agenda 1, A through D.
I move to approve consent agenda 1, A through D.
Second.
I have a correction on the minutes, please, in consent agenda 1. There, and I'm trying to find it, but there's a sentence in there where I said the town should seriously consider a new police department building. And the minutes reflect that I said that we should consider a new police department. There's the big difference in the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
So I would really appreciate adding the word department in there, a building in there, please, not just department. Thank you.
With that change, yes.
I amend my second.
Okay. Any other comments?
Sir.
Poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Royce,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes.
Yes.
We have consent agenda 2, approval of the Royce supplies.
I move to approve consent agenda 2.
Second?
Any comments? Okay, seeing none, poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes,
Yes.
Councilmember Royce,
Abstain. That business belongs to a family member. I have filed the proper paperwork with the clerk.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Okay. Under presentations, we were to have a FEMA representative here, but it doesn't look like she made it yet. Maybe she'll show up during the meeting. So we'll just, we'll go ahead and continue on. We'll go into public hearings.
Can you see it?
Mayor, if I can comment real quick and everything, I spoke to the FEMA representative. She was going to try to make us and Avon Park. And for the home audience, you'll see a link on the website. This is to help out with the storm. And for our audience, there's a link on our website that basically on the Hurricane Ian page, that'll guide you the businesses through the FEMA page.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, we'll go to 4A, first reading ordinance annexation of Lake Placid Advent Hospital. Is there anything on that? Oh, I don't have the ordinance.
Keep scrolling.
Was it way down?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I was looking for, but I didn't see it.
One more. No, one more after that.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Oop, lost it. There we go. Well, dang it, it keeps going away.
Need a bigger hammer.
I sure do. I think I need fingers that know how to operate a computer. Ordinance 2022-12, an ordinance of the Town of Lake Placid providing for the annexation under Section 171.044 of the Florida statutes of land contiguous to the Town of Lake Placid, Florida, owned by Adventist Health Systems, Sunbelt Incorporated, and providing for an effective date.
What page is that on?
72.
72 of 213.
Ordinance starts at 75.
I found it, thank you. So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. Seeing none, bring it back, poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes,
Yes.
Councilmember Royce,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
All right, next is first reading of ordinance 2022-16, Compton Properties. Now, let me find that one. Oh, here it is. Is this it? Yeah, it is. An ordinance of the Lake Placid Town Council authorizing the conveyance of town property to Salem Medical Teams LLC and providing for an effective date.
I'll make the motion on first reading.
I'll second for discussion. What exactly is going on with the transition to the Salem Medical Team?
Would you like me to answer that?
Yeah.
House Compton gave a lot, or several lots, parcel of land on South Main Street to the town provided it would be used to construct a new police station. More recent discussions, it sounds as though the town is looking to put the police station with the new firehouse behind Pam's office and my office in the middle of town. Rather than returning the property directly to Haas, realize that once he makes a charitable contribution, his taxes are filed, reliance is made, he would have to undo that and then make a second charitable contribution. He would like the property given to this entity who is an intermediary for a charity that is building a hospital, helping him build a hospital in Peru. And this is one of his lifelong things trying to do. So if we're not going to use the land, he would like it to go there. He is out of the country now. He's in Peru now. Should be back for the final hearing and approval. All land can only be conveyed by ordinance. So my recommendation would be to approve it. Mr. Compton can be back and affirm those representations next meeting.
So the thought is that the land reverts back or to this organization, and they, in the long run, would sell that property and take that money to help build their hospital.
Correct.
They're not building a substation, a hospital there. They're just.
Correct.
Okay.
The hospital is being built in Peru,
In Peru. Mhm. Okay.
the Sacred Valley, to be precise.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, we'll take it to the audience. All right, seeing none, bring it back, poll the council.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Royce?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
All right, next is 6A1, Smoke Shack Remodel Limited Landscaping Waiver.
Good evening. Melanie Culpepper, Town Planner for the record. The Smoke Shack located at 111 US 27 South in Lake Placid is proposing to demolish the two buildings that are on the site, one of which burned down and the other to rebuild. And they are requesting a limited landscaping waiver. If I can get this to work. So this is sideways. Let me see if I can turn it. Okay, so the two buildings, there's one over here now, and then there's one, I think, over in here, pretty much. And they are proposing to tear them down, build one big building here with a 5-foot landscape buffer instead of the required 10 feet. Go back to my agenda. So,
Yeah, I think it's the other
Going the
way.
wrong way.
No, yeah.
here we go. It would reduce the buffer along the roadway to 5 feet instead of 10 feet, with still providing the required trees and bushes. Reduce the required canopy coverage from 3,000 square feet, 3,063 square feet to 313. In exchange, they are proposing to put more perimeter landscaping around the building. This would improve the site from the way that it looks now, and staff did not feel that this was anything out of the ordinary for this request. And we recommend approval. The applicant is here for any questions.
I move to approve the limited waiver to landscape requirements for the Smoke Shack remodel.
Second.
All right, for the record, there is a resolution, 2022-13, resolution of the Lake Placid Town Council regarding the smoke shack remodel limited landscaping waiver. I just want to make sure we put that into that.
Yes.
And what page is that on? I'm like 4 or 5 pages off on this.
Yeah,
thing.
you
I
got to
can't-
find it. That
Can't seem
seems
to
to-
find these.
It's on
That's
page
on
96.
96 of 213.
Thank you.
Turn your monitor on.
I did. It doesn't bring anything up. I've been looking over on Charlie's and yours, but even on here. Motion's made though, and seconded.
2022.
Yeah, I see it here now. Move to approve resolution number 2022-13. With a second. Did you second it, Nell?
I thought Ray did.
Ray.
Okay, seconded it. Thank you.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay. All right, any other comments from the podium? Take it to the audience. Okay, seeing none, poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Royce,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes.
Yes.
Okay. Next is 6B2, resolution number 2022-14, a resolution of the Lake Placid Town Council regarding the smoke shack remodel limited parking waiver.
Again, Melanie Culpepper, town planner for the record. The smoke shack is proposing to install 13 parking spaces. They currently only have 10. The new restaurant would require 28. They are requesting to reduce that 28 to 13. Currently, they utilize the property next door, the Royals parking lot, to have their parking. However, it's not guaranteed. You know, if anything did change, that parking could go away. There's no written agreement, just verbal, that they can continue to use the parking area. They are going to connect or line up the driveways with the parking, with the doctor's office to the south and to the Royals Plaza parking to the north. It's not likely that it would go away. We have to point out that it's not guaranteed.
And that's an increase of 3 spots from what it formerly had.
What it currently had, yes.
Yeah.
And they're taking a building out to do it. I move to approve resolution number 2022-14.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any other comments? Hearing none from the podium, we'll take it to the audience. Bring it back. Poll the council, please.
Councilmember Sapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes,
Yes.
Councilmember Royce,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. And do you all need me for anything else in the meeting? Do you want me to stay? No.
You can go. I'm surprised you're
I
even
don't
here.
have anything. Nothing.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
We appreciate you being here. All right.
Thank you again for your service
All right.
over the years.
Welcome.
Get started. I want to be the first one for breakfast. Okay, next is 6C1. WG025, Septic to Sewer Project, FDEP, Fed WW Grant Agreement. And we have with us tonight the lovely Mr. Colbert. Anyway, he's here.
Who is this guy?
Good evening, Corbett all day.
Corbett, there we go.
With Guardian Community Resource Management Offices, Dade City, for the record. You have before you tonight the $600,000 septic to sewer grant. This is the last grant award that we have to approve for the Lake Placid Camping Conference Center sewer line extension. As you'll recall, these funds are not obligated yet. They are available to spend on the whole project. So we could spend them on upsizing the lines as discussed in a previous meeting, or for overages if we have a high bid. And there's nothing, this is a federal pass-through grant, like your CDBG pass-through grants. The requirements are very similar, and there's nothing untoward in the audit requirements or reporting or in the documentation requirements. So I'm recommending approval tonight. It's your pleasure.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question, Mr. Harris. This is all part of the greater plan for sewer, for wastewater and potable water service to the Camp and Conference Center, correct?
No, this is for the wastewater.
Wastewater.
Well, but I mean, I guess where I want to go with this is, when we entered into this process several years ago, we were assured by the Camp and Conference Center that in addition to wastewater, that they were also going to provide potable water to them. And we have embarked upon a series of grants that primarily benefit the Camp and Conference Center to limit the cost they will have for the wastewater project they're forced to have through a consent order. And I guess I just want to know, as part of this, where we are on the potable water side of this, moving that forward in that agreement.
The town approved the initial request for inclusion on the project list for the drinking water state revolving loan fund. The pre-application was approved, and the engineers of the applicant, the camp, developed a facilities plan for drinking water, and right now they're answering questions from the state on that facilities plan. That's where the drinking water is at this time.
And so I take it by that answer, then they are not tied together. They are being treated as two separate projects that are not reliant upon each other.
Correct.
Does our agreement with the Camp and Conference Center tie those projects together, Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Would you agree with that, Corbett?
I'm not that familiar with the agreement, but I would not disagree that the town has that is the agreement for drinking water and wastewater. I believe that is the understanding of the camp.
Okay. I'm not opposed at all doing this, but I just want to make sure that as we move forward to finalizing these grants that provide very significant relief to the Camp and Conference Center for their obligations they have to FDEP, that they acknowledge that, or that you as their grant writer acknowledge that potable water delivery down there in the very near coming future is also part of the commitment that they're making.
Understood.
Are you making that commitment on their behalf? Or will their representative make that? I want to hear it again publicly stated. That's part of the overall deal.
I can't do that as a consultant. I'm not really authorized to do that.
And I take it the Church and Conference Center is apparently not willing to make that commitment publicly tonight?
I mean, it's in the first agreement says we're going to do both. They're going to do both. So if nothing's changed,
You are comfortable, Mr. Harris, that they are contractually obligated to do that?
how about I bring you the document next meeting, or I'll send it to you. We entered an agreement with them. When you say contractually obligated, I don't recall the penalties if they fail to. And that ends up being the meat of a discussion of contractual obligation. And I simply don't recall that. It was entered, 18 months ago, a year?
So I apologize for not understanding. If we approve this tonight, are we approving acceptance of this grant for expenditure, or are we making how far down the road are we?
This is an award agreement. So you are signing the award agreement, accepting the funds.
True that.
So the funds have been allocated, we just have to accept it.
That's correct. You've been through the entire application process, and now this is the final award is being issued to the town.
My recollection is this has come up more than once, and every time we've asked, the Camp and Conference Center has said yes. I see Mr. Haney here, and he's not standing up and suggesting that there's been a change.
He's also not standing up and saying, yes, that's the agreement, and the Camp and Conference Center, is honoring their commitment. And that's what concerns me, is that we've taken multiple steps over several years to save the Camp and Conference Center in excess of $1 million. And I just want to make sure that they're committed to putting the water line in that's going down there. I mean, that to me was part of the deal. And I'm a little dismayed that Mr. Haney's not willing to say, yes, that's part of our deal. And we plan to, stand behind that.
And maybe we need an agenda item on the next agenda.
So do we have, let's just say we take this award agreement, I'm assuming all of this money is coming to us. And we still have, our utility department, we still have the ability to not commence work. Is that accurate? And return the money?
You have the right to cancel the agreement, yes, if you choose to do that. I mean, it is with the town, and the funds come to the town, and the town bids the project out and oversees the construction.
Okay. This award agreement is your fee for this one being paid by us or by the conference center?
By the conference center.
Okay. So if we accept this, then the town is not under any obligation to you.
No.
Okay, I think it's important to me, I don't know if others will agree, but I think it's important to me to make sure that we are all on the same page and that the Camp and Conference Center plans on building that water line like they said they were, but it's been, to me, there's been a ton of conversation about this wastewater line to solve their problems with the state of Florida. I just want to make sure they're going to live up to their obligation, their other obligations to the town of Lake Placid.
I agree. I would just like to double-check the documentation that we have and the initial contract with them to make sure that everything's in there and any provisions for failure to perform.
Why don't we set the matter down on the next agenda and ask them to present where they are in performance of that element of the drinking water element of our initial agreement?
Okay.
I mean, I know they're both in the same agreement that we first entered.
Okay, I mean, I just want to make sure that there's no understanding. I see Mr. Haney's left the room. I don't know if he's out having a conversation with Dr. Wilson or if he's
he was
taking a call or
I
what.
was on the phone when he went outside.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm comfortable moving forward. I just wanted to be very publicly clear to Mr. Alday and others that we consider this part of the deal. So I see Mr. Haney coming back.
It's like he has an answer.
He's coming
Like
forward.
purposefully.
Anthony Haney, Executive Director of Lake Placid Camp and Conference Center. I just spoke to Dr. Brian Wilson. Yes, there is nothing that we have deviated from. It's in the same agreement that we agreed to through the city to have the water connected with the city or with the septic project.
I appreciate that, Mr. Haney. I still would like, Mr. Harris, I mean, we're going to presumably move forward with this tonight, but I would just like for us to, for you, please, to make sure how tied up they are, if you don't
Yes, sir.
mind. Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you for the questions, the answers.
So with that, are you suggesting that we table this for now until you can
Nope,
look?
I mean, I'm comfortable moving forward. I mean, I know they are sort of set, but to my mind, they were always tied together as a project. And I just want to make sure that I know the water will be running behind the wastewater project from an engineering standpoint and all that. But it's very important to us to have that water go down there to service the camp, for us to be able to do our billing, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of reasons to make sure that water project gets done, if not concurrently, very shortly after the wastewater project gets started. And mainly, I just want to make sure that as the town has used its good name to create this infrastructure that benefits the Camp and Conference Center and saves them tremendous amount of money, that they live up to their obligations as well.
I'll get a letter out immediately to you.
So I guess you need a motion for acceptance of the award of the grant? So moved, given the conversation we've had.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other comments from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. Seeing none, bring it back, poll the council.
Councilmember Royce?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Sapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yep. Have a safe trip home. 6D1, 2022-2023, schedule of holidays and town meetings for the fiscal year.
I move to approve the schedule, if that's what you're looking for.
Thank you.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for discussion.
I'm just looking here at Monday, December 26th is observed Christmas Day for commercial pickup, but there will be nobody's working on Christmas, right? Just want to make sure that's,
No, I think what that means, Ms. Hayes, is the only downside to this schedule is the town will have to pay the employees that work on these holidays overtime or time and a half. I mean, I don't know. I mean, an additional rate to work on those dates, but this is notifying us that residential and commercial garbage pickup's going to happen. It's just going to cost us more to have it performed on those dates. Is that accurate or relatively accurate?
Yeah, it's relatively accurate, plus there's only 2 holidays that all employees have off, which is Christmas and 4th of July. That's the way we try to keep it.
I just wanted to be sure nobody had to work on Christmas.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll take it to the audience. Hearing none, bring it back, poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Royce?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Okay, go to 6D2, RPAC funding application for the town of Lake Placid, Lake June Park, Phase 2 improvements. This is the second application.
Mr. Mayor, as council probably recalls, we had another application in 2021. What we received as for the project at that time fell significantly short of the final price that we need for the overall project. I know we talked about pickleball courts and different things down there. And if that's the way council wants to go, this will be the final opportunity before the next RPAC meeting. The next RPAC meeting being 3 more months out beyond that one. So what I wanted to do was to put an application in front of you, see if we couldn't, figure it out if you wanted to go for this project. and it'll be ready for our pack, and I'll have it in on time, the 10 days before they require, like a 10-day before lead time before they have, you can get it in, so.
And the project you're referring to is this parking thing that we're looking at here? Is that the project you're referring to?
Yeah, the Lake June Phase 2. The budget is on page 154. The last price of the project was $165,648. We had an 85% match from the county, and we actually have an interlocal agreement to that effect, and I think that $140,801. And we agreed to a 15% match at $24,847. The bid came in for construction. There were 2 bids that responded. The bid came in with Excavation Point having the lowest bid, the next one being almost twice that much. And the lowest bid was $250,110. And then I'm adding in a recommended 10% contingency because nobody was expecting construction costs to go up as much as they did. And I think maybe Polston kind of got off on his quotes too. But anyway, we now know pretty much exactly what it's going to be. $301,121. That's with a $25,000 contingency. And I'm proposing a 12% match instead of a 15% match.
And Mr. Williams' point is, this will finalize that project down there with the new pavilions, the new restrooms, and it does not preclude us in the future from seeking other projects, but this is the only project that we are prepared, I believe this is the only project we are prepared to submit to RPAC at this time in this cycle. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay.
They opened it up so as they used to have it where you could only do one project at a time, but they've since opened it up where you can do 2 projects. So if we want to do the pickleball courts later on and get around to it, but our feeling, staff's feeling was that this project helps everyone. And if you're fishing, if you're playing baseball, if you're playing pickleball, this helps everyone. So it's a major improvement down there. So, and this what you're looking at is the actual RPAC application that I intend to submit. Just as it.
But this, in fact, leverages kind of 2 years' worth of our RPAC money, correct? The one that we've been awarded in our next one, combining it to make one project.
I mean, to remember, we got awarded
We're awarded,
this.
right.
It wouldn't be enough to cover it, and we said,
Right.
whoa, put the brakes on, and now we're going back to them and saying, we'd still like to do it. We're willing to put in more if you're got, I mean, we're willing to we're willing to expend if you all are willing to up what you expend. And to me, after talking to Mr. Williams, then this does not in any way preclude us from in the coming months saying, okay, we have another idea, but I don't perceive anyways we're prepared right now to send them another proposal with estimated costs. And so this is kind of the only thing we have that's ready to go to them in this new budget year and ask them to recommit to this project.
Could I make a non-legal comment?
Sure.
I question the wisdom of putting the boat trailer parking in that location. That seems like the high dollar portion of our park between the pavilion and the lake. My thought would be to move it to the other side of the pavilion so we're not having to walk through boat trailers when going from pavilion to lake.
So where would you suggest that it would go?
The other side of the pavilion.
Over
Scroll.
here?
Yeah, under the oak, further south.
Oh, over here.
There?
Yes, there. If you recall, if you've been out to the Istapoga Park, the parking is way removed from the actual beach and the boat ramp. I'm guessing 70, 80 yards at least. And again, this is not a legal comment. I don't have standing to do that, but I sure wouldn't put the parking there.
Well, on those same lines, by doing this, we're losing property with retention ponds that we're currently using. So we're cutting ourselves out of a lot of space by doing this project as well, which if we leave it like it is, we can use the whole area however we've been using it for quite a while. And these won't be spots that are striped. This is just a grassy area. We can do with it as we please. I don't think we have to do boat trailer parking in that spot,
What's your
but it'll end
point?
up being used for that.
What's your point? Put the retention ponds there?
Don't do anything and not have a retention pond.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
What is the retention,
Required to do
The,
it, probably.
the
what does the
Southwest,
retention pond serve?
yeah, the Southwest Florida Water Management has approved this. The permit exists right now for this project. It's already been, that part of it's been approved. And we're going to pay around $12,000 for what's been done by Polston already. Now, if we started changing up, obviously, I mean, whatever y'all want to do,
So if we choose not to go forward with this project, what happens to that $160,000 or whatever it is that's,
I wasn't saying don't go forward.
no, but I'm saying, what if? What if we did not do that? What happens to that money?
Goes
Is it-
back to the county and into their RPAC funding.
So can we use it again at another time? So do we still have our finger on that chess piece, or no?
No.
No.
They'd probably go to Sebring and Avon Park.
Okay.
but there again, I think last time they had a meeting, they had like 750,000 or something. They're looking, RPAC's looking for project. And there would be time if you wanted to do a redesign to go back into this and, you know, if the project is worth doing.
Does it have to be designed before you submit it to RPAC?
It needs to be designed and bidded, because obviously, anything, we did this last thing and come up with $165,000.
That's how we knew we were short.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I certainly take Mr. Harris's point, and to me, the retention pond, what I'm going to call is, we're looking at it to the right of the boat ramp is where people kind of park their trailers today. And I think if Mr. Harris's point would be, even if we use that area for trailer parking, it'd be better than the area between the pavilion, the bathroom, the beach area, you know.
Because that's what's currently being
That's,
used
yes.
for trailer parking.
Yeah, where that eastern retention pond is used right now a lot as well, and we're just wiping all that space away with this plan.
Of course, I'm not an engineer, but I think that if you're going to put this kind of pavement in, I mean, we get away with a lot of things now because we just never had to submit a design for it, probably.
Well, if you may be able to alleviate it or funnel it down just to the northwest corner across the road into that area there that's kind of wasted space anyway, you know, on that curve, straight to the northwest, yeah, right up in there.
Yeah.
In that area there. I don't know that you'd be required here because, you know, this is already, part of this is already, it's not impervious, but it's pretty much impervious.
I think we go ahead and submit, and I think we take the comments that we're all talking about, and we ask the engineering firm for, you know, what are our options as how we change that? If in fact we get the award from the county, we say, okay, from from an aesthetic and safety standpoint, you're much better not to have that and kids playing on people's boat trailers and around trucks. And I mean, I think Mr. Harris makes an excellent point that we ought to move the boat trailer parking area.
And parking, it's got parking on the lake side of that too.
Yeah.
There's 2 rows of parking.
Well, there'd be no expense associated with that because you're not paving that area anyway. It's just a matter of designating it differently for the parking, so that shouldn't be an issue. So there's, other than losing the area to retention, there's no point not to proceed.
I tell you what, whatever you guys want to do, but I mean, I can ask Poston about making the changes and ask Tal about what it would take to make the changes in between now and RPAC. We got plenty of time between now and November.
Well, I think we make the request, you do that. I mean, all we're gonna do is, apparently, is just stabilize some ground for the boat trailer parking, right? With, I mean, that wasn't gonna be paved anyways, correct, in the center?
Yeah. No, the boat parking,
Right.
I don't think the boat parking was,
It doesn't show that. I
It
mean,
doesn't look like it, no.
Yeah.
no.
The east one is pretty stable now. Underneath there, it's
Yeah.
pretty firm. on
That's
the-
gonna be all dug out anyway, so it goes away.
Well, I think we can move forward with the request and even submit an amended engineering drawing before we actually took the money and commenced on the project, right? I mean, so I think Mr. Williams' point is if we want to stay on the RPAC schedule, we need to make a decision and send this forward to that request to RPAC.
Well, the longer you depart from the RFP that we received from Excavation Point, I mean, I've really had a hard time,
I understand.
and I'm not sure I did get a commitment from Tal that if we get it approved, and it was only about 5 months from now before we started, could we go by the same quote that he delivered? I mean, they give you a quote for that date. And,
I understand.
If we start stretching it out,
I'll make a motion that we submit this proposal to RPAC for their consideration of funding and that we ask Mr. Williams to look in with the appropriate entities' options in regards to boat trailer parking.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the podium? All right, hearing none, we'll take it to the audience.
Yeah, if I may, the retention pond to the northwest corner, there is a 5-inch irrigation main line that runs through their catty corner to the edge of that pavilion, which feeds the entire soccer field. I don't know if that was taken into consideration when that retention pond was placed there.
That retention pond could be moved further west between that little point of the groves, the oak tree there, a little further up here, right up in here. Move that retention pond up into here, if that's still town property.
And I perceive the retention ponds are sort of like the current one when we built the pavilion and that they are, they are not, like a Heartland, a Dow Hall Boulevard deep thing. They're a foot depression in the ground.
They will surprise you. If you look at the high school where they did the Prowitz project there next to elementary school, they took up 20% of that property with a huge pit.
Yeah.
And if you look at where Tangerine Road comes down, which is only a few hundred feet from there, there's also a huge pit. They will surprise you with the depth of some of these things. Don't just assume that it's going to be shallow because it's sandy.
Well, I guess my point is if we move forward with RPAC, obviously there's a bunch of good discussions. And if we get the funding, then we may have, we can always not accept the award, just like we did before. And if we have to spend even a couple $1,000 making some amended engineering, then we move forward and we say, okay, well, I don't think RPAC, they're going to make a dollars and cents thing. I think even if we have to go back to them later in the cycle and say, here's the new plan, we had to move for multiple reasons. We had to move a retention pond, or we had to move some parking. That's not gonna, I can't imagine that's gonna concern them.
Basically, what they would do is they would just go and look at the budget, and the county would give us an agreement, assuming everything is okay, that they authorize the county to spend up to $264,986. And they want to come out and look at your project after you're done to make sure that you did what you said you were going to do. But I mean, they're pretty happy, you know, they don't mind amendments or anything like that. They just want to make sure that you.
Mr. Marine, who heads all that up for the county, he's a very reasonable person, and we're gonna be able, I'm sure if we need to make some if they fund it and if we need to make some amendments, I'm sure Mr. Marine would be supportive of us doing it the right way.
As long as we keep the same amount
Right.
of retention pond, where exactly we put it, I don't think they're gonna get any heartburn over that. We just can't change that amount.
The only thing that may take a little bit more time is that if they amend the retention ponds is going, I'm not sure how the Swift Mud is gonna have demand going back through them and getting another permit, so. And that takes a little time. It's not a.
Well, let's see if we'll give it, I mean, if they're not gonna fund it, then it makes the conversation moot, so.
I think they'll fund it. I don't think we're having any problem with that.
I think we ask them to
With that
fund it.
being said, I want someone to start tomorrow on, let's get into design and cost package for the next go-round of RPAC beyond this one, so we have it in hand to be submitted. Because I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of more baseball fields and more for youth-oriented. There is nothing for older people. How many people you see using shuffleboard board at 2 couples maybe for 1 month in the winter? Go by the tennis courts. You never see anyone at the tennis course. I know hundreds of people, and they ask me daily when we're gonna get some public courts in the town of Lake Placid. Yeah, I know Sebring's getting some at Charlie Park, and, you know, there's Sun and Lakes North, there's 2 courts in Sun Lake South. That's it. But for the general public, there is none. You build 8 courts, you will have people playing there every single day, guaranteed. So that's as one commissioner, that's what I would like to see. I'm okay with this project. We've got it in the pipeline. We're going, if they fund it, fine. If we got to drop back and punt and we don't get the funding, I want to have something with pickleball or something that we can have ready to go in the next cycle.
And where do we have to start with that? Another engineering firm, or have we already determined where that might be placed, or like where are we with that?
There's a couple places out there that we've discussed. One of them's up there by the softball field on the south end of the field. There's restrooms up there. The footprint for 8 pickleball courts is basically the same footprint for 2 tennis courts.
Yes, yep.
It's about the same amount of space, so it's not really big.
I think we talked about over in this area right here.
Yeah.
Speaking of retention ponds.
Yes, I agree with you, Charlie. I think that's a
But
good.
that
we have
needs to be
get a step
going,
ahead.
so we're not waiting, or if this is awarded, doesn't preclude us from going ahead and getting something else in the pipeline sooner rather than later. But and not all of them are citizens of, most of them are not residents of town proper. They're county people. A lot of them are town residents, but we don't have any public courts anywhere on this end of the county.
And it makes good sense to always be one project ahead
Yeah.
of our pack. Yeah.
And I mean, if it's agreeable to everybody,
Yeah.
you know,
Anyway, a basketball court could be,
We have basketball courts there. We can't seem to get the lights turned on in the morning. We're parked there to walk, but other than that, we haven't.
they're not working now, but they were working because we had them, we just had that issue and everything about a month ago and
Yeah,
that was-
they were repaired shortly after the time change. We realized they weren't working. We had Community Electric come out and repair them.
They weren't working
About
this
a month
morning.
ago, right?
It's possible that with the power outage, the time is just off and they're coming on at the wrong time.
They haven't worked since the storm.
I'll look into it.
Okay, thank you.
So what was your point on the basketball courts?
Well, I was just wondering if, I mean, the basketball courts are they're used, but I mean, not to any kind of a,
Well, in the evenings, I do see it, a lot of kids in the evenings and weekends there, and mainly.
Yeah, tennis courts and the basketball courts get used a lot. I walk past them 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And there's
It's
just
mainly
always somewhere
in the
over there.
evenings and stuff after school, and weekends it is.
Yes.
But the beauty part about up there is, you've got restroom facilities that are pretty much contiguous to it, so.
I
that
would rather build something in addition rather than try to take something away, like take a
Right.
tennis court away and
Right.
change it. No, I'd like to leave
Well,
what
and
we have and
that's,
build something
we
new.
can't touch that, that's on school board property.
Right, but I just think we need to keep what we have and then build something in
Right, and
addition.
I'd rather not get involved on putting more courts on school board property, that just
Yeah, it kinda mucks
entails
it up.
more entanglement
Right,
that would,
right.
but,
can I get some feedback on what size of a court that,
I don't think that's a good location. When the kids play football or basketball, that whole area fills up with cars for several months out of the year, and you wouldn't be able to use that for pickleball because you wouldn't be able to park anywhere around there. You
It's
need to put
also
it on
a
the far
retention
side,
pond.
over by the circle, right around in there somewhere. You already lost part of a softball or soccer field by
Yeah.
putting that big old silly roundabout in there.
I don't really think I mean, you're close enough to restroom facilities that are down here. I mean, even, it doesn't really matter. I think anywhere, even with the playground, whether it be east, west, or north, may not want to crowd but at this point, most people don't.
we have any irrigation lines in there, Alan?
Yeah, quite a few actually. And I don't know if it was changed in the update, but the septic leach field used to come out between the tree and the road there as well.
Well, I don't know that we need to agree on a place tonight. I think we kind of agree on the concept and we have a motion.
Well, you can get costs for what the construction of it, the site is kind of irrelevant.
Right, right.
We own it, but you can get the cost of what it would be to build an 8-court facility
Right, right.
with, and I would recommend lighting as well.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And, I mean, I don't know what Spring Lake is doing on theirs, but you can maybe get, piggyback on theirs,
That's
find
what I
out.
try to do.
Yeah.
I try to find some plans that are already built.
Right, and I believe theirs is gonna be an 8-court facility as well. But I think,
And then I also go out on bid nets and everything, like the town is a member of the bid net,
Right.
thing, that we go out and see if we can find some good plans. That's the same way we did with the police department. The only thing with a pickleball court, you think, nobody cares about the design of pickleball courts, so there's some of them out there. Police departments, nobody wants to submit the design, or this is where we're hiding our evidence. So,
So
they're
Spring,
hard to find.
Charlie, Spring Lake's getting ready to do one?
as far as I know,
We'll just call Joe DeCerbo and see what the
Yeah.
deal is.
I don't know, they've been awarded, I believe, but they have not, to my knowledge, started, and I don't know if they're in the same position that we are with our grant. The RFP came back significantly higher from when it was submitted for the construction, so I'm not certain of that.
Maybe we can at least find out where
get
they
the
get their bid
specs.
from,
Yeah.
who's building it, but.
Yeah.
And I disagree with the police department ability to find designs. I think we can find designs for a police department. I don't think that's rocket science. We can build a sheriff's office, we can build a police department.
If pickleball courts is the definite way that,
I mean, that's the consensus, like, that's my opinion as one councilman up here and through numerous contacts that I deal with.
We're out in the weeds here. This is more about RPAC and moving on with that vote. We can talk about pickleball all day long, and we all agree, but it's probably time for a vote. If I
Yeah,
can
that's-
ask
that's not
for the
the vote.
previous issue, we'll be here all night.
Yeah, that's not
going
the
anywhere.
motion that's on the floor right now. You're right. I think we have a motion somewhere in a second. I'm not
We
sure
do,
where we are.
yes.
Any other discussion from the podium? From the audience? Poll the council.
Councilmember Royce,
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sapp.
Yes.
All right, next is 6D3, the American Rescue Treasury Funds.
Mr. Mayor, I told council I would bring back the list. As council knows, there was some discussion last time in regards to what the council might want to do with the ARPA funds. This is the latest from Roger Homan in regard to the police station design. And there are several other, the other projects are still there. Also summarized that the amount of the award is $1,241,616, and we have received that already. We just have to make sure that we account for how we spend it in accordance with. And the way that we received it is sort of like an open book as far as what we want to spend it on in government resources. It needs to be sort of focused on COVID reduction and COVID. But it's basically government expenses. That's why it's sort of wide open. Now, I don't think they'd care for us building a baseball field or something like that, so. And we have to have them, the obligated by 2024, December 24, and spent by 26. So we got some time. The ranking sheet really hasn't changed. Kevin, who have to, of course, they have to compliment all the staff and everything, because, I mean, they were up during the hurricane, and Kevin came in and opened up the building and made sure it was aired out when we didn't have a generator and air in here, so we still getting some mildew, but he did a great job. He had additional suggestion on shutters, but I think we can get the shutters for this building funded through some kind of a hardening grant, some kind of a FEMA grant, rather than using these funds for it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm certainly interested in us looking into whether or not we want to build a new police department there, you know, kind of behind where the new fire department's going to be. What I am not interested personally in doing is spending $164,000 to design and permit it. And I mean, that's just a waste of money. I would just encourage our staff to have preliminary conversations, you know, with other engineering firms or architects, but just to spend $92,000 on design of a 3,500, 4,000 square foot building is just, I know that everyone likes to take advantage of public entities like us, but that's just obscene, you know, to try to or, you know, in civil engineering, I mean, it's a flat piece of property that's going to have a driveway leading right up to it. I mean, it's ludicrous that someone would say, give us $164,000 before we turned any dirt.
Yep. I
You have
agree.
to also be aware of how the Consultants Act works, though.
I understand, and I don't know, and I feel bad saying this because I don't have the solution, but I just think, I mean, we just there are guys that could draw the plans for this thing for a couple $1,000, I know, and we could, we should be spending a tenth of that, not 164, maybe it'd be more, but that's just way more than we do it. And I would just encourage staff, and in particular anyone who's maybe interested in having a new police department, to look at what the options are to get the thing designed and where it's at. But I'm just one council member. I'm never going to vote to give Roger and his gang $164,000 to do that for that kind of building. It's a rectangular concrete block building with a metal roof. I mean, it can be designed for a heck of a lot less. We're not going to have holding cells. I mean, it's not going to be that complicated of a building.
Chief, are you wanting to?
More concrete does and blocks and things, but we can probably cut that cost if we just turn blind eyes to the permits and stuff.
The original plan was to come here to this building, which would save a pile of money.
Well, it doesn't make
There's room
sense.
here. There was room here before, and there's still room here. That's a
It
whole other
doesn't-
discussion.
Doesn't make sense to be here. And it doesn't
Spend
make
a
sense
million or
to
$1.5 million to me is not a discussion to be had right now.
be. I'm never going to vote to have it here, never. But I do like the idea of putting it along with the fire station. I like that idea. And if that's already in process or in some sort of a design concept, maybe we need to hook up with that. I don't know where we are with that.
Well, it is in design process, and we've ensured that there'll be an access road driveway. That'll be part of their plan. Now, we don't have the ability, I don't think we have the ability to tag on to an actual design as they're doing that, but we've left, by our agreement with the county, we've left plenty of room for a potential building or a park or whatever we want to do. And, the county itself moves somewhat slowly on this, but I would encourage staff to have some conversations and see, there's guys like, Rick Whidden that could draw the plans for this thing for a fraction of that. People like Polson Engineering ought to be able to do the civil engineering for a fraction of this, Now, maybe, I don't know if there's even support, and it sounds like Mr. Sapp isn't interested in building that building, but in my mind, what we're talking about is no more than 4,000 square feet. We're going to have an $800,000, $900,000 building, and I just darn sure don't want to spend another 20% or so just on designing it, so.
Okay.
We ready to move on?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna.
The next thing was added right at the last part. I apologize, Rachel, if you want to come up. The town has been challenged we've been challenged here to keep the building clean. We've contracted with TWQ Cleaning Services to address task. Rachel, come up. Rachel has the handle on it. She's been keeping track of the cleaning services, and this is her proposal that I think that it would be better just to hire a part-time employee. I have a proposal to hire the part-time employee, and instead of it being a janitor, have him come under Harry, him or her come under Harry, and hire a little bit more agile person than just someone doing cleaning. Maybe someone that could help finish up. We've been kind of bogged down as far as finishing the sound panels and getting that project done, and a few other things, and pressure washing and different things like that. I'd like to see kind of like a hybrid, so that we can use, not just with cleaning, but to get some of these other projects that we have started. They're kind of challenged right now and everything, and Harry is losing the guy at the ball field, so he's gonna have to hire somebody, a new guy at the ball field because of health reasons. And so, yeah, he's gonna be facing that challenge, so.
I would rather us hire another either part-time or full employee and use them for a multitude of things than spend $27,000 a year for someone to come clean part of 4 days a month, you know.
I agree. I'm confused, though, where it says alternative option number 2. A full-time janitor is hired at $14.50 per hour. The town would get more clean for a cost of $1,205.60. Is that a month, a week, what?
That's what they would spend extra
That's the
to hire the
savings.
full-time people. It would cost $1,200 extra, is that right?
Yes.
To,
Oh, okay.
For the
So
year.
what is this calculation? 30,000, whatever it is, minus 29,000 gives you the 1,205.
that would be doubling the current rate that they're paying right now if TWQ came in and doubled the amount that they're doing now. Excuse me, no, but where are they falling short exactly? Are they emptying trash cans and vacuuming? I mean, the place looks immaculate to me. What extra needs to be done that is not being
It's
done right
really,
now?
it's really not extra. They just not having enough time to do it. I guess they kind of schedule 4 hours to come in twice a month. And it's just not enough to get through this whole building, even 2 girls. The 4 hours is just not enough time to
They're
to
pretty
do
much
the
for 8
vacuums.
hours worth of work once a week, or every 2 weeks, they're doing 8 hours worth of work. 2 people
Essentially,
at
yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah,
Right, but they're still not getting around to all of it.
yeah, I can see that.
But that is what they
That's not-
allocate and based on the
So the
original.
town right now is paying, what, $2,400 a month for 16 hours worth of work. So they're paying $150 an hour for these people to be here. It
Well,
doesn't
we
make
only-
sense to pay them at all if that's all they're doing.
No, we're paying $162.50 an hour.
Yeah, so we need to hire somebody.
$162 an hour.
Yeah. Better do a good job.
I mean,
because
thir-
you'll
I
be
mean,
fired
if-
too.
$1,300 for 8 hours is $162.50 an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to continue that. We have to do something different, just looking at the hours. It didn't tell me how many hours we were getting for the $2,400 a month, 4 visits per month, increasing it just, right now it's 1,300, so it's actually 75 an hour. It's half that. We're paying
No, it's
1,300 now.
$1,300 for 8 hours of work is
Well,
what
they're
you're
coming
telling me.
twice a
month,
month, so it's
correct.
16 hours.
It's really
Because
16
there's
hours
2
because there's two
employees for 4
employees.
hours, so it'd be.
Okay, you're right. So it's 2 employees.
2 employees.
Yeah, so it'd be
Okay,
75
for
an
8,
hour
so it's
roughly.
16 hours, okay.
But it's still excessive, and if we can get more out of somebody and, but it's like every government, you take somebody on and you hire them for one thing, and a year later doing something different, then you have another person on staff, then you need somebody else to come back and do this, then you have 2 people on staff. I just want to make sure we need what we're doing, and right now it makes sense based on what we're currently paying. So I would agree, we need to hire somebody, and I would make the motion to go ahead and hire somebody, and I'll make that motion now to hire a person.
On full-time.
Full-time or part-time? Full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Full-time.
14,
Yeah, we're still coming out ahead hiring someone full-time,
Yeah.
and we got them every day of the week.
And they can go clean other places and other, I mean.
and then we
work
can
at
address
more
this
full-time.
again, we can, when the budget comes up, we can address it down the road and see where we are with this one person, but I always am hesitant to just start throwing employees at jobs, particularly when everyone's paying the bill for them. And I just want to make sure we keep this on track and it doesn't become something else a year from now.
Yeah.
So yes, I make the motion to hire a full-time employee. And that's what you're after, right? 40 hours a week at $14.57 per hour.
Right,
I'll second it.
okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree at the full-time, because especially if you're thinking that Harry needs them or whatever as well. So if you can't do that with a part-time person, you have to be a full-time.
And my thought on this, we get the right person in here, it's not gonna take them all that time to clean. We could always put them on a mower,
Sure.
let them mow this
We
property.
might even get some flowers
That-
planted.
That would leave Harry more people to do what he has to do in other places. So
Right,
to me, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I
And the
agree.
town has other buildings, they can clean the
Right.
police department, and
That's right.
other areas.
Got the
so it's-
restrooms, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
Do we have a termination provision in the TWQ?
I'm sorry.
Do we have a termination provision in the TWQ agreement?
We do is, whenever, I
We
think
quit
it's
anytime.
15 days to let them know in advance.
Thank you.
So I say we keep them on until we can give them notice, but keep them on until an employee is found. We don't
Right.
want to cut them loose and then not be able to find somebody.
And if we're going to start renting the place out for functions and things like that, that adds to the cleanup time as well. Even though the people are supposed to clean up, they never do it to the extent that you would want it done.
And I could put them on that bold right there.
Quit looking up there. You don't be looking up there, should be looking down here. Watch the screen here.
Not without benefits. You put them up there, you better have everything available to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I want someone that's able to be a little bit beyond cleaning, you know? Because that involves taking these things out, bringing the lift in and going back up there. So Danny did it last time, but it was a lot of work.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the podium? Take it to the audience. Any volunteers for the job? Bring them back, poll the council.
Councilmember Sapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes,
Councilmember Royce?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all we got on our agenda.
Unless the FEMA people are here.
are they here?
I don't know who that gentleman is.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if there were anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and
Mr. Mayor, I wouldn't mind having Alan too. I told him to maybe do a debris update on debris collection.
We're waiting.
Oh, he wants to get recorded doing this.
Yeah, sure. Well, you can pull it from our tape, too.
Hello, council members. Thank you for having me. My name is Andrew Toussaint. I'm a public affairs specialist with the United States Small Business Administration. I'm just here to explain to you what the SBA is doing in Florida to help out with survivors of Hurricane Ian. The SBA is offering a low-interest rate disaster loan for homeowners, renters, small business owners, and private nonprofit organizations who were impacted by Hurricane Ian. Our loan is primarily for people who have uninsured damage to their property. For example, a car, if someone has a primary vehicle that they use to go to work, that would be covered if they don't have, their insurance won't. Damage to their home, if someone has a business and their inventory was damaged by Hurricane Ian and insurance won't cover it, they can take out a loan with us and we can offer to help. Another part of our loan program is what we call economic injury loans, which are loans for businesses or private nonprofits who, while not directly impacted by the hurricane, they were financially impacted. For example, let's say a business got less customers because their client base couldn't make it to their business because of damage to the roads, or they couldn't get inventory in. That'd be an example of economic injury. Another part of our loan program is what we call mitigation, which is if a homeowner or business is eligible for a physical damage loan, they can get that loan raised by up to 20% for what we call mitigation, which is anything that would help them avoid damage in the future. For example, a flood wall, a pump for getting rid of flood water, something that might lift equipment off the ground so that it wouldn't get damaged by flooding. These are examples of mitigation. We strongly push that because every dollar spent on mitigation, on average, saves several dollars in the future by avoiding future damage from disasters. Another important part of our program is that our physical damage loan applications have a deadline of November 28th, and our economic injury loans have a deadline of June 29th next year. The reason for the discrepancy in the deadline is that physical damage is very easy to see. Economic injury can take months for a business to know that they've suffered from. The other thing we want people to be aware of is how they can apply, which is by speaking to an SBA representative in person at one of our business recovery centers, by going on our website, which is disasterloanassistance.sba.gov/ELA. Or a survivor can call our hotline at 1-800-659-2955. Yeah, that's basically an overview of what we're doing. I did notice when I was looking through our documents that I don't think there are any business recovery centers near Highlands County. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm still kind of new to the Florida area, but Collier County, Hillsborough, Lee County, these are not near Highlands. Okay. So
We had at one time, I believe after Irma, they had an SBA office at South Florida Community, State College.
And I thought there was actually the Highlands County Economic Development Office was looking at multiple potential locations for an SBA office, but temporary SBA office, but you all are not going to open an SBA office here in Highlands County?
well, because the hurricane was so recent, our efforts here in Florida are changing all the time. So while there's not one open in Highlands County now, that could be different next week. They could open one. Right now, it's kind of more of a personnel problem because between the hurricane in Puerto Rico and the hurricane here, we just don't have a lot of personnel necessary to run a lot of business recovery centers. However, I did look up a solution, I think. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, still figuring out Florida, but are Polk County and Osceola County close to Highlands?
Focus.
Polk is
County's
just
the
north of
next
us.
one north.
It's the next county
It's
north.
the next
Polk is
county
the next
north.
county north.
Okay, so besides the SBA's business recovery centers, FEMA has what they call disaster recovery centers, which are kind of similar but a little bit different. The difference is disaster recovery centers are run primarily by FEMA, but SBA personnel are present there, as well as local organizations who are helping out with the storm. And there is a disaster recovery center in Polk County at the W.H. Stewart Center.
In Bartow.
Yes, yes.
I'd respectfully suggest that you all really need to have disaster recovery centers either in Southern Highlands County or DeSoto County and Charlotte and Lee County, and move whoever is sitting in Bartow, move them to hell out of Bartow where there's been little to no real impact into more heavily impacted areas, because you all, I mean, as much as I'd like to see one here, you all really need to be in Arcadia and places like that that have been really significantly impacted by that storm.
Arcadia is Hardy County.
We are opening a mobile business recovery center in DeSoto County in Arcadia. However, mobile business recovery centers usually are short-term. However, if you are suggesting that SBA puts a business recovery center in Highlands, I can certainly pass that message along to management and let them know that there is a desire for that.
There is definitely need. I
Yes.
can
Definitely
attest to
need,
that. There's
definitely.
definitely need. And I myself, trying to show someone how to navigate your website, after all the pins and after about 45 minutes, I said, I'm out. I'm done. I got locked out. It was the most complicated, convoluted thing I've ever tried to do.
Yeah, that's usually why we try to get people to speak to someone in person.
I gave up.
Yeah.
I want to talk to, and I need to take some people and go physically talk to.
I will definitely pass that message along to my team lead that there is a need for a BRC in Highlands County. She'll then move that message on to management. Hopefully, SBA upper management will be visiting Florida soon, and they usually look at the damaged counties for themselves. So hopefully that would urge them to make that call. But I mean, that is really way above my pay grade, so there's only so much I can say on that.
Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it Irma that they had?
They set up one there in the Ag Center for quite a while. And-
Well, I remember, well, it may have been Charlie, I can't remember,
Yeah.
there've been so many, but I mean, I remember they had set up at South Florida State College at one
Well,
time.
there used to be an SBA office at South Florida because Michael Noel was the
Yeah,
SBA.
exactly, yeah.
He was the SBA coordinator, or they had a full-time SBA office at South Florida in conjunction with South Florida State College. But during the last hurricane, they had a FEMA and an SBA recovery center, and they set it up at the Ag Center up in Sebring, about 10 miles north of here. I know that the Highlands County Economic Development Group, a guy named Jeff King or Sarah Beth Rogers, I think they even called you, didn't they, Phil, to see whether or not they could use a room or a space here if need be for the short term. I think so. There's definitely a need here. There's definitely going to be a need in, either Hardee or DeSoto County or both. And if you all really have people in Hillsborough, Polk County, you need to move them to Highlands, DeSoto, Charlotte, Lee. Those are the counties that are going to be most heavily impacted.
Okay, I will absolutely give that message to my team lead, and she will move it on forward.
And if you all need help finding spots or what to do, I would encourage you to get with Highlands County government, specifically Jeff King with Highlands County Economic Development, and he'll help you find a spot. Or we'll provide you a spot, or the
We'll find a
county will
place.
provide you a spot.
Yeah, we'll find a place.
Okay. Again, I understand your frustration, by the way. I do know that sometimes that the way the federal government works, it kind of seems contrary to what would be helpful. I understand that frustration.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting there was not any damage at all in southern Polk County, but where you're talking about having an office is in Bartow, which is in southern Polk County.
Are there any questions about any of the information?
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to speak here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, is there?
Sir, let me give you my card, and if you have any problem finding, with your superiors, if you have any problems finding the spot, another hat I wear is I am chair of the Economic Development Commission, so give me a holler and I'll put you in touch with the right people.
Okay, thank you.
Get some information, you could leave it with Phil, too.
Right.
So, okay. All right, have any comments from our department heads?
I just wanted to give a brief update on the brush, where we're at with that. We've collected roughly 1,000 cubic yards already. We're not on the hook for everything, but what we've been doing is gated communities. It's easier for us to go in and out of there than it would be for them to get a right of entry form and have them go through and damage the roads. So what we've been doing is focusing on areas like that, anywhere that's got say line of sight problems with the intersection from where people are piling everything. And we've kind of tried to hit some of the harder hit areas, collecting from there so that way they've got more room to place more out. But we're just about wrapping up on what we're going to be doing for the community, with the exception of town properties. The county contractors will be kind of taking it from here as far as going into the intrastate areas of the town.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, from that, I would encourage Mr. Harris again to revisit what our agreement with Highlands County is. You know, I had lunch the other day with Joe DeSerba from Spring Lake, and he thought it was all a matter of when us having to pay part of it was dependent upon timing of when the contractors came. That wasn't my remembrance. I thought it was we were just going to be liable for some percentage of what got picked up within the municipality. You know, again, if I would encourage folks that if they live in a municipality and it's a county across the street, pile the stuff on the other side of the street. Because
did that, but we
as
picked
I
it up
remember, if y'all remember, we had quite the little to do with the county about why our citizens will be paying extra. I think we have part, but I know we ultimately, luckily, signed the agreement that brings them in, so. And I will say, in my particular neighborhood, I'm not sure they were supposed to, but they came in and picked up and hauled a lot of stuff away already, you know.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Ray, I agree. It's not funny. We're paying for it anyway. We might as well put it across the street and save the town the problems, because we're paying double for it right now as it is, unless we get reimbursed. So reimbursement to the county or to us, might as well have them handle it anyway. So I agree. It's not a laughing matter. It's
It's in the agreement that the county handles everything unless we outline areas we don't want them to go.
I piled mine across the street and we picked it up anyway, because it's one of those checkerboard situations.
And I know it gets said, and I don't know how many people are watching us on YouTube, but the most important thing too is you cannot commingle
That's right.
vegetative matter with garbage, with other debris, whether it's wood or metal or even people. And I understand why they do it, bagging up leaves, because that stuff will sit there. And so if you have, or if I would say, if our staff sees people putting piles, and they need to keep it separate from what's bagged, what has wood or metal in it, because otherwise those contractors are, at least on the initial round, are only going to pick up the vegetative material.
Correct. Yeah, what they're doing phase one right now, they started south of us, they just started getting to our area this week. Again, phase one is all going to be vegetative. After they do a full sweep of the county and their second time around, they'll be collecting a lot of what they call C&D, which is the debris that would go to the landfill.
And Alan, if I might, Mr. Mayor, I know I was told by the county administrator that after the last storm, they piled and burned a lot of this stuff. And of course, they had people complain about the smoke. So this year, this time, the plan is they're going to mulch all or most of this. And so, if there are things that the town needs, I think there's going to be one heck of a pile of mulch hills somewhere. So if we need mulch now, I don't mean now, but a month from now may be the great time to get, I presume, some free mulch, because they'll have a heck of a mulch pile somewhere.
Yeah, they're reactivating, what is the previous recycling center on Skipper Road is where they're going to be, the southern staging area for all their mulching.
Okay. I want to take a minute and really thank all of our department heads and our employees for the work they did after the hurricane. I know the police chief was out there cutting up trees on 27, and our guys were busy doing everything else. And the town looks very nice, looks very good. And I just appreciate the hard work and dedication we have from all of our staff. And I just want to make sure I thank each and every one of you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I might add too, there's also some citizens, I know Donald Clark put together some guys and they restood some trees and, did some, and I don't want to start, I know Donald was involved. I don't know exactly who he had, but I know he had some of the usual men and women that help us out, and they restood some valuable trees back up. So thank you to all the citizens. And I know in our neighborhood, private citizens came along with front-end loaders and moved trees out of the road and all that. So to your point, thank you to everyone
Yeah.
who in that
Yeah,
immediate thing
I forgot
did
about it.
stuff.
Billy Brantley was part of the group that did Vane Park plus others. So we've just got a beautiful community, and the way everybody works together and steps up and does their part is really great. So again, I just wanted to thank everybody. Anything else from department heads? Yes, Kevin.
Only because Joe's not here, he's at a funeral. We did get an email late from the Department of Economic Opportunity that we should have a signed agreement for funding on the pipe bursting project, so that'll be going out to bid soon.
Very good.
Great news.
Also, just to keep you updated, Joe has been working hard with Taco Bell. I think they finally got most everything worked out as far as that goes, so hopefully we'll see some progress there here in the upcoming weeks. So that's also coming. Nell, you have anything?
I just want to echo what you said, to thank everyone for the great job they've done with trying to recoup everything. It's been a mess, and they've done a wonderful job, and everybody working together. It's just very good. Thank you.
Ray?
I think it was Steve Griffin who had a lot to do with
probably
standing
did,
those trees up and bringing in a lot of equipment. So, I don't mean to leave anyone out, but thank you to all the men and women. And I know Billy put together a party put together a work party to do some cleanup. So thank you to all those folks that helped clean up the town and restand trees.
Absolutely.
Greg?
No, sir. Good.
Charlie?
I just want to thank everyone too. Everywhere you turned, you just saw people helping each other, and that was what makes Lake Placid and Highlands County a special place to live, because, that's what everyone was doing. You got yours where you could get out, and everyone just gathered up and moved to the next one.
Mr. Attorney?
Not a word. Thank you, sir.
Phil? All right. If there's no other business that come before Lake Placid Town Council, meeting adjourned.